TNA Impact. I have to make this quick because I started coughing again, so let's get down and dirty here. Was this a good show? Well, no. I'm going to tell you this now that's not going to like it. I mean, people are not going to like 100% what I'm saying, but I got to say it. This feels rushed. I'm sorry. Due to the problem because of the hurricane, and also due to the problem of booking before the hurricane, you can feel that certain things should have been done differently. It is obvious. It feels like things before the hurricane were not considered, and they started rushing it, and then the hurricane happened, and that made it worse. That's the truth. Now, does it mean it's all garbage? No. It just feels rushed. And that's the truth. That doesn't mean it's bad 100%, but it's noticeable. Let's just go through these matches. The 20th place for the Call Your Shot Gauntlet. I believe we had Hunch, AJ Francis, we had Jake Something, the Laredo Kid, and Sami Callihan along with Kaz. Now, I thought it might be Kaz, but the problem was that, from what I remember last week, Kaz was going to be a special guest referee, so he would have had to do double duty, but I wasn't sure if he was going to do it. Now, Sami Callihan, I know that he re-signed with TNA, and after he finishes wrestling permanently, he's going to be working in the back. I don't know when that's going to happen. I hadn't checked. But it is good to see that he made the conscious choice that he wants to continue working with them. But then his own promotion, Wrestling Revolver, I'm taking a guess that he'll work in the back with TNA, but also he'll still be running Wrestling Revolver as well. Unless he's going to sell it to somebody. So I wasn't sure if Sami Callihan may get that spot. I didn't think Jake Something or Laredo Kid was going to get it. I did not think they're going to go there. Unless Jake Something was just going to be muscle. So when the match happened, and we got AJ Francis winning, I'm going like, okay, there's two reasons why that could be happening. One, they want to give AJ Francis something because he has been working for the company for several months now, and they want to give him something that shows that they have some faith in him. Not that he's going to win the Call Your Shot Gauntlet, but at least that he's going to be in it. Second, as a few of you know, AJ Francis has been bothered by a little bit of JD from Off the Script. I'm about to say Off the Rope Show Central. Off the Scripts next to Dax that JD's been having a problem with. He's been messing with AJ Francis. So that could also be a part of it. Not saying it is, but that's just my speculation. Moving on. Second match, which made no sense. None. You could have used somebody else. Why didn't they use somebody else? You got Jonathan Gresham going against Josh Alexander. Now, people will say, dude, that's going to be a great match on paper. Really? Look how the match happened. It didn't look as good as it's supposed to. I know Jonathan Gresham can wrestle pretty damn well. I also know that Josh Alexander could work pretty well. But you put them together, and it looked very, very telegraphed and very sloppy. Now, mind you, there were certain times that it was Jonathan Gresham who messed up. And then a few times that Josh Alexander messed up. But let's make this clear. If anybody thought that was a classic, it was not. Jonathan Gresham versus Charlie Dempsey is a classic. A true catch-as-catch-can classic match. Saying that Jonathan Gresham and Josh Alexander had a classic this night, no. Well, technically it was several nights ago when they made these recordings. But you get my point. No, this was not a classic. It looked a bit sloppy. But then you're doing this so Josh Alexander will have something against Steve Macklin. Why couldn't you use somebody else? Leon Slater would have been better than Jonathan Gresham. That's what I feel like should have happened. We should have had Leon Slater against Jonathan Gresham. Well, not Jonathan Gresham, but Josh Alexander. Because this wasn't even about Jonathan. when it was all said and done, he started getting beat down by the Northern Armory. Who came out? It came to be one person, and it is Steve Maclin. He gets zip-tied. His arms are back here. His arms are in the ropes, tied up like this. Not like his arm is caught between the ropes. He couldn't get out. His arms are just like this, and his arms was in the ropes backwards. He just had to stand up and get his arms out. But the point is, Steve gets punched in the face. He gets kicked in the face. And he's smiling. Fine. I got no problem with this. Seeing a Steve Maclin as a face is not a bad thing. But did you have to use Jonathan Gresham to do that? No. So not only that wasn't a classic, it was a somewhat okay match. And both of them were being sloppy about it. Particularly Jonathan Gresham slipping off the ropes. I don't know if he did that on purpose or was accidental. It looked like it might have been accidental. But to be honest, it almost looked like he was supposed to do that on purpose to make it more easier for Josh Alexander to cook him. To get him. But that's just me. I'm sorry. I don't know what else to say. Wendy Chu versus a Jody Threat. Now, something happened with Danny Luna. It's personal. We don't know what's going on. But they said they hope everything will be alright with her. It could have been a death in the family, maybe. Or maybe something happened or she got sick. But supposing it was family issues, and they said, hopefully everything will be alright. My guess is that it might have been a death in the family or someone who's very, very sick. So, I'm hoping they'll be alright. Excuse me, alright. But this match was okay. Wendy Chu is not a bad wrestler. I like Wendy Chu. I have no problem with Wendy Chu working with Rosemary. I don't. But only problem I have is Rosemary has not won in one damn match by herself. She's had 3 matches in NXT, and she's not won any of them in singles. Not one match. And that pisses me off. The only time she won anything is when she's been with Wendy. Now, like I've said before, and I'm going to say it again, the actual woman, Rosemary, she's going to be 100% fine with it. She got a chance to get extra payout. She's working in NXT, even if it's only for a certain amount of time. She's not going to be angry about it. But for a fan like myself, I think she deserves more. And she's not getting it. But in the end, Wendy got helped by Rosemary. She won. Now they're going to get ready for the match at Bound for Glory. That's okay. Final match, 8-man tag. The System versus ABC and the Hardys. Hardys and ABC won. And then the System whooped their asses. As I thought they would. Because they have to make the System look dominant before the triple threat. And, Full Metal Mayhem match. It's the only way they're going to make them all work together. I'm not going to say the match is bad. It's going to depend on how much Jeff and Matt can do. Let's be honest. This is about Jeff and Matt. How far they can go with the match. Because the System's going to be fine. ABC's going to be fine. What are we going to get from Jeff and Matt? That's the truth. I think they'll be fine. But would they let them have those titles? Because I do believe they're going to let them retire with those titles. Does that mean now they're going to get the titles for a while, and then maybe in another year or two, if they stay with TNA or stay another year, they're going to say they're going to retire? Now, that's just my speculation. I'm not saying they're retiring. I'm just saying that's my speculation. I don't expect them to go back to TKO WWE. I just don't see that happening. I don't think they're going back to AEW either. I think they're going to finish off their wrestling career at TNA. I think so. That's just me. You guys tell me below. Now, what did we get from the 2 segments? Santana's segment, it was a vid pack showing about, my home, my New York. Was alright. Look, I don't like interjecting myself into this situation, but I'm going to say this. I know the areas that they show. The areas in the Bronx, I generally know where they are, but the lower west side, I know that area. I grew up in Manhattan. I literally grew up in Manhattan. I was born in Manhattan. I grew up in Manhattan. I know where they were showing. And was he lying about what they did back then? Nope. That area that they showed that he was in back in the early 90s was nasty. You think it wasn't, but it was. Before everything got straightened up by Bloomberg, that area was wild and nasty. Hell, 42nd Street still had porn on it by the time he was a kid in the 90s. By the time I went to school in Lower West Side and East Side, the porn was just almost gone. It was still there, and people were still shooting up and still beating each other up. That was still there. That was just barely in the early 90s when it was getting cleaned up. So I know what he was talking about. And it makes sense when it comes to Santana. And he's talking about Moose forgetting who he is, and Santana doesn't want to lose his roots. I understand it. Moose, the same thing. I understand what he's saying, trying to get out, because let's be honest, people like me and other people, if they get an opportunity to leave, they'll leave. Sometimes they come back to try and help out, help the community. Other times they're gone because sometimes the community cannot be helped and they decide they just don't want to go back because they got treated so badly by the community. It happens. So there is realism there. So I can say that this story between Moose and Santana is pretty good. It's not perfect. It feels like it needs more time to develop, but when they're bound for glory, they kind of rush most stuff. And then the hurricane hit, so it makes it more harder to develop if you lose 1 week of TV. There you go. Ash of Elegance and Heather of Elegance. Heather, what can I say about Heather Reckless? Getting all dolled up. Doing what she probably normally does. She wants to look sexy. She dresses up like she normally does. She was fine. She looked good. Do I believe that they needed to ruin that so quickly? No. Let's make this clear. I would have liked to see Heather of Elegance or Heather Reckless have a few weeks of developing this new character. We didn't get that. What did we get? We get Bright Reese coming in. And that's after Zaya Brookside said, after what you did to Bright, you're going to get it. You're going to pay for what you did. This is where the rushing comes in. You didn't even get a chance to really even soak in Heather with her new style. If this is even a new style. We didn't even get that. It seems so heavily rushed that she didn't even get 2 weeks or 3 weeks to develop this new one before Bright comes in and ruins her shit with this. I just feel like it was a waste of time. I would rather see the development of Heather Reckless than seeing her face being thrown into a punch bowl, and all her makeup gets taken off along with Ash. I just feel like that was not the right way things needs to be done. But since they're rushing it because they didn't really see this out months ahead in advance, because they never do, on top of it, the hurricane took about 1 week off of what they were supposed to have. That makes it even worse. So when this tag match comes, it's on the kickoff show. Don't care. Because you didn't give me anything to work with. So that's not good. Finally, I know I'm glazing over a few other things, but I'm leaving them. Let's make this clear. The contract signing was the talk between Joe and Nick and Marsha and Jordan Bad. No. I'm fine with what happened. The contract signing was fine. It was alright. Kaz coming out, explaining why he got what he got, going to Earl Hebner's referee school, and then going over Santino's head to be able to get the executives to give him that position. Fine. Alright. They wanted to give a reason why he got that referee, special guest referee. They did. He got his ass whooped by all four of them when they put him through the table. There's no fighting. It was nice and quiet. I'm fine with that. But I'm going to tell you the truth. Am I interested in Joe Henry and Nick? Yes. Am I interested in Jordan Grace and Marsha Slamovich? No. And I'm going to explain why. Do I hate Marsha Slamovich? No. Did they book her badly? Yes. She had nothing to do. For so many months, they gave her people to eat during the pandemic. And after they did that, they let her go up against the top people and let her lose. Then they teamed her up with Killer Kelly. Then eventually Killer Kelly left. And supposedly eventually she will come back. Don't know when. But after that, bump. Now they give her the ability to finally be able to talk English like she's always been able to. Because we all know she can speak English. But then you team her up with Jordynne Grace for a third time. And the problem here is this. What are we getting in Slammiversary? Think about this. We had Jordynne Grace deal with her back then. What do we get for all the other times she dealt with her? The same thing. What, tell me. What would have been better? Jordynne Grace versus Marsha Slamovich again. Now her being allowed to speak English is the only difference in her being a face. That's it. The only general difference, she's now a face and she now speaks English. That's it. Or Jordynne Grace versus someone from WWE. Well, TKO WWE. Natalya. Tell me that wouldn't be interesting to see Natalya on TNA. I know she's not the biggest star anymore. She's not. We're not talking about her, but she's been on NXT. And instead of letting her deal with Jordynne Grace, giving her that opportunity to deal with a member of the Hart family, that would have been one of the best things that would have been for Jordynne Grace. Dealing with a Hart family member at Bound for Glory and setting this up 2 months in advance. No. Either TKO WWE didn't want to do it, or TNA didn't request it, or maybe there was something else. But no. We're not getting something special from TKO WWE, except Wendy Chu. That's it. Unless they're going to bring someone else special like Layfield again, that's it. And that's the problem. John Layfield or Wendy Chu might be all we get. And what did I say to you guys months ago? Many months ago when this started. I said, is TNA doing well? Is TNA going to get something from TKO WWE that can really be something beneficial? Yeah, we got some of their wrestlers going over there, but what have we really gained from TNA working with TKO NXT? Tell me. Yeah, they're selling out more. There's no problem with that. But when you look at the main show, when you look at Impact, what have we seen differently? Jonathan Gresham having a match with Charlie Dempsey was great. But what have we really gained? Zachary Wentz and Wes Lee. Yeah. But what does this really give TNA? What did we really gain from TNA? Working with NXT. Tell me. You keep saying, and I've heard more than a few of you say, they're selling out arenas. But does the product look any different? Or is the product still Impact Wrestling, just change of name? That's what it looks like. We're about to go into Bound for Glory on Saturday. And there is no one special there unless Bradshaw, John Layfield shows up. Or someone else from TKO WWE. Because the only thing we're going to have, when it comes to the Hall of Fame, I have no problem with Rhino going in. I don't recognize the other guy. I know someone's going to tell me. But I wasn't watching TNA in the past, so I do not know who the guy is. And if I had seen him, I don't remember him. And then we're going to have Wendy Chu on the show, on Bound for Glory. And we're going to have who else? That's it. Next to Joe Henry, who goes back and forth. He doesn't count. Nick Nimitz, he works there. He doesn't count. You get Wendy Chu only. And if they do bring someone in, wouldn't it have been better, instead of Marsha Slamovich, you bring Natalya in? Even if they won't show any of the real big stars, Natalya is still someone that's well known and respected. I would rather see Natalya than Marsha Slamovich, who I actually really like. I do like her, but I'd rather see Natalya in that position, not Marsha. But that's me. Peace.